I've been waiting for this one, guys, a lot, so you're gonna want to pay attention to this. If you like hard sci-fi, if you like horror sci-fi, if you like cosmic dread, cosmic horror, and stuff like Mandy and a few others, you're gonna want to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. So let's get into this review. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex. Today, we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Ash, a new movie coming to theaters on the 21st. This is a movie that was directed by Flying Lotus, who has done other movies like Kuso in the past. Up front, I want to tell you guys, if you've seen Kuso and you weren't a fan of it, don't worry. This movie is a complete feature. It's not segmented shorts and weird stuff, which I personally enjoyed, but is definitely not a cup of tea for everybody. This movie was written by Joni Remler, who I believe this is their first feature film, and I honestly think they had a pretty good vision for this. So what is it all about? Ash is a movie about a woman who wakes up in a space station on a distant planet in another place, and she has amnesia. When she wakes up, she finds out that the crew of her space station that is on this planet are all dead. And she's trying to figure out why. But she can't even remember who she is, let alone anything else. And her investigation into what set off this chain of events for all of her crew to die viciously at the hands of her, someone else, or something else leads to some pretty terrifying results. Now, if you don't know who Flying Lotus is, he's actually a music producer. He's also done a lot of visual stuff. He's a writer, director, producer. He's done a lot of really great stuff. He's worked with a lot of really great artists in the industry of all different types of genres, including David Lynch and just about anybody you can think of, whether it be rap or it be anything. This is a new soundtrack that he's done for this movie on top of being the director for it, and holy crap, does the soundtrack to this fucking rock. This is definitely much more in that synthwave category, leaning towards John Carpenter, as well as many other fantastic design. Some of the choices that he made in the music I thought was really good. There is subtle things like horns and piano that are just organic, straight organic type of vibe. And he includes it with that electronic, like blazing, really crisp sounding, like bass heavy vibe too. He's mixing organic and that sort of synthetic thing together, and it works really well. I think it really fit this movie perfectly. I personally really enjoyed it. And you add that to the visuals, holy crap, this movie is beautiful. It is going to be reminiscent to a lot of movies that we've all seen, movies like Alien, and I don't think that he's trying to hide that. This is a much more condensed film, so it is not going to be something like Aliens. This is a much more condensed cosmic dread thriller sci-fi horror movie in one small setting in a way, even though it is on another planet, and there are a lot of big things that do occur in this movie, including violence, action, insanity. Now, I guarantee you this is not going to be for everybody, and there are people that I know personally who went to this movie and saw it at South by Southwest, where this premiered, and were not huge fans of it, but they said there would be people that did like it, and I am one of them. I really enjoyed this movie, but it did take me a while to really kind of grasp and get my teeth sunk into it. For me, and everything from like a middle of the movie on was really actually pretty damn good. Leading up to that point, it does ask a little bit of the viewer to kind of wait, eventually unravels to something. I just want you guys to understand that this is not some, mega Star Wars movie level thing. It's bigger than I thought it was going to be, but not as big as something like that, okay? Now, look at it as like a really cool, unique, independent feature film. There's a lot of really great CGI, practical effects, the set design, and like all the like props and everything look really great. I mean, everything looks like really stellar for this kind of like sci-fi thriller. All of that in the backdrop with the lighting, because they have like all these different purples and greens and blues, and it just all melds together really well. It's a vibe film. The visuals and the music and everything carry it the most. As far as acting goes, there is Isa Gonzalez, I believe I'm saying her name right, Aaron Paul, quite a few others that are in this film, but there is mostly a focus on the main character, who is Isa Gonzalez, and she does a fantastic job. She's really good at being strong, susceptible, and I think she played the part really well. Aaron Paul is also really good too, so he does a really good job in this. But you know, we're dealing with a smaller cast. It's really kind of focusing on that condensed vibe and perspective. The whole thing of her coming to and realizing what happened, it's really anybody's game as to who's at fault here and what did it. But just know that this is much more about blending that sci-fi, alien vibe, and also even The Thing. Now, I know a lot of people get really upset when they hear The Thing and they're like, oh God, everybody always says that. There is just stuff in this movie that just reminded me of it. I don't want you to think this is a Thing movie. It is not necessarily a Thing movie, but it does definitely wear its nostalgia and its inspiration on its sleeve. And I think people like Flying Lotus are fans of Alien, are fans of The Thing, and there's just little things in this movie that kind of lend itself to that. There's a lot of people attached to this, and Flying Lotus didn't take it all on this time. He's, you know, delegated it all out. Obviously, I'm sure he had a lot of influence over it though. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's actually a really good movie, but I think most people are going to be expecting something so grandiose. Now, this movie won me over by the end, and it had to win me over. And about halfway through, I was kind of on board, and where it took me was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. It is its own entity, and it is doing its own thing, but it's doing it with a lot of style, a lot of beautiful music and visuals. You kind of are going through the paces of everything that's happened on this space station, on this amazing, crazy planet that is just chock full of atmosphere. It won't be for everybody, I guarantee you that. But if you are a fan of things like Mandy, Alien, I feel like you'll have a better appreciation of this, and it may be something that you should go see in the theater. Specifically for the audio and the visuals alone, I think this movie is something that you should see in the best audio experience there is. I personally have a really nice sound system for my computer and some really nice headphones that kind of balance the sound out, and I have a profile that like uses the cinema just right, and it sounded amazing to me. Now, as far as the story goes and maybe any kind of negatives, it's not the most in-depth story. The characters aren't as in-depth as maybe some people might like, but it is a mystery, so you are kind of unfolding things as it goes. It does take its time to kind of smell the roses in some parts, which could be a good or bad thing for some people, but for me, you know, the visuals, audio, it all carried me, like I said. It's not the most groundbreaking story I've ever seen, but how they handle it, I think did a good job. It does have some of its inspirations in the movie, but not to the point where it's like theft. It's just Flying Lotus's own personal interpretation of a situation of being stuck on a planet and trying to unfold that sort of and rationalize it in your own personal brain as to who you are and what would that be like. It is coming out on the 21st. I personally want to give this movie about an 8 out of 10. It could fluctuate. I really want to watch it again. I honestly think it's leaning towards an 8 more than anything, and I really enjoyed my experience. I was excited and elated after watching the movie, and that's generally a good sign from my perspective when I watch a film and it makes me kind of pace and think about it and digest it. I think there was a little bit of expectations going into this film, and that's just natural with human beings. So just make sure you taper it a little bit. It's not that it's not a big movie, it's just an independent film, and I think some people might see sci-fi and think, oh, you know, Star Wars, big, amazing, Netflix, bloated budget. No, this is a more condensed movie that does a lot with very little, and I think it is a hell of a stylish ride. One of my favorite films I've seen this year so far, but it isn't going to be for everyone. I would love to hear what you guys think. Thank you, IFC, RLJE, and Shudder for allowing me to watch this film and review it. Truly think it could be higher for some, could be lower for others. I personally want to buy the soundtrack to this, and I hope that they're going to be putting it out on at least CD so I can have it for myself, because I want to listen to this when I read comics, reading horror comics, sci-fi comics, or reading sci-fi books and stuff, because it sounds amazing. So kudos to everybody involved. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video and found something out of it. We got a hell of a lot more out. We just put up a new video for 5 new movies that you gotta check out. Check that one out if you get a chance to. But thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.